prepare ourselves for our class. We want to say shalom to each of you that are in class with us today, and also for those of you who are joining with us by our live stream, excuse me, by our live stream platform. We also want to say shalom to each of you. Thank you for your presence. For those of you who are joining with us for the first time, we want to welcome you to School of Messiah Bible Institute. And the class that is in progress, or shall I say the course that is in progress, is Hebrew language. And today we are going to be covering lesson 9. And for those who need outlines, the outlines were there on the chair in the front row. That's where we always keep the outlines. I trust that everyone has an outline. Fortunately, because this particular class, or shall I say this particular course, is one where I am combining information from both the block script Hebrew and also the Paleo Hebrew. I do not have outlines available online. However, if there is someone that may need an outline and you are viewing us by live stream, you can send an email to us and we will gladly email you the outline for this particular class. Our email address is bimci777@gmail.com. Again, our email address is bimci777@gmail.com. If you would send us an email with your name and you request the outline for Hebrew language lesson number 9, then we will send that outline to your email if you so desire. We want to do our best to make sure that we're able to provide the resources that either we have available online or we can somehow get it to you if you're joining in with us in this class today. So let's begin with the word of prayer. Abinu Melkenu, thank you for this opportunity to be able to provide the teaching in this class today as we look at verbs with respect to the Hebrew language. I ask for your guidance and for your wisdom in presenting this information in a manner that is understandable and simple to receive. I pray that you would give each of the students the ability to receive truth and to be able to digest the information as to understand the language in their studies. Now, Father, we thank you in advance in the mighty name of Yahshua. Amen. Amen. So today we're going to be looking at verbs. Lesson 9 is going to be dealing with verbs. Previous lesson, lesson 8, we looked at personal pronouns and we looked at the present tense to be, which are actually to be verbs such as is, are, am, those types of verbs. We learned that in Hebrew, there are no words for to be verbs. In other words, there are no verbs in words such as is, are, am. those words in a sentence. The context of the structure of the words is where you would fit that in. So that's what we dealt with last week as we were looking at that particular aspect of grammar. We dealt with the verb to be. In this lesson that we're dealing with today, it's going to be dealing with some other aspects with respect to verbs. And we're also going to look at tenses as well. So, for those of you who are watching by live stream, we do have the screen up. We hope that the screen is visible enough for you to be able to see the letters. If possible, can you expand the screen by taking your fingers and expanding it? Yes, like that. Good, good. That will help for those who are watching my live stream to hopefully be able to see the words in the Hebrew and also the meanings of these words. So the vocabulary that we have here today is a vocabulary of Hebrew words that are verbs. And the thing that we need to understand about the Hebrew words that are verbs, and we mentioned something about this with reference to root words in Hebrew. Root words in Hebrew are composed of 3 letters, all right? This is something that's common in other Semitic languages. Languages such as Aramaic or Arabic. In your Semitic languages, you're going to discover that the commonality is that the root words in Semitic languages have 3 letters. So if you notice here, all of these words are composed of 3 letters, as you can see. All right? And as we look at these words, we want to know their meanings, which means that you're going to have to take some time to associate the words with the meanings in English. For example, the first word, and we're looking over to the right-hand side, we have the word gamar. That thing that looks like a boot on the end, that letter is called the gimel. Yes, it's a block script gimel. All right? After that, we have the mem, then the resh. This is a block script, and it means to finish. To finish. All right? Gimel, mem, resh. Gamar. It means to finish. The next word below it, we have the nun, we have the tav, and we have the nun again. The nun, where it looks like it's somewhat like a snake, like that, that's called a final nun. All of the finals are used in the block script Hebrew. Finals were not used in the ancient Paleo Hebrew, just so you know. So you want to be mindful of what's called final letters. These are letters that are at the end of a word. They will look differently. They will have a line that just goes vertically straight down. So that's the nun, tav, and the nun. All right? And that is Natan. Natan means to give.
Natan.
Natan means to give. All right? Next word, we have the sheen, mem, and the resh. Third word down, Sheen, Mem, and the Resh. It means to guard or to keep. It is Shamar.
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 Shamar. Do you remember when the Most High told Adam that he was to keep the garden? That's the word Shamar. That he was to keep the garden. To guard the garden, to guard and to keep it.
Okay.
Shamar. Sheen, Mem, Resh. Next word, fourth word, we have the letters Hey, Lamed, and the Dalet. No, actually, that's not a Dalet. I'm sorry. That's a final cough. It's got a leg going down. It's a final cough. Let me come over here and show you this. Right here, this is the Hey.
That's a hay.
This is the Lamed. This here is the final cough. It's better. Try to tweak it again just a little bit. No, right there is fine. Leave it. Okay. Hey, Lamed, final cough. See how the line goes down like that? When it extends like that, that means it's a final letter. It's a cough. The cough looks like this. That's what it looks like. So it would be halak.
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 Allah.
Halak, which means to walk or to go. Then we have this word here. This is called the Samic. And we have the Nun. And we have the Resh. This right here, Samic, Nun, and Resh. Shanar means to shut. Give me one moment. I'm going to go ahead and get my board real quick. I should have brought
You
it
said
out.
Shinar.
Shamar.
Oh, yeah.
That was the first, the second.
Oh, no, that was Shaman.
All right. I figured I'd bring this out because I might need to write down some of these letters that are finals, like right here. This one is halak. I'd like to show you what that looks like.
Yeah.
Hey. So, this is what it would look like. Here's the Hey, Lamed, and the Kaf. That's what the Kaf would look like.
Move away from the
Okay.
screen.
You got that?
Move away from the
I'll bring
screen.
it over here so maybe you all can see it a little bit better right here.
Yeah, move to the side.
Right here.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is the Hey, Lamed, and the Kaf. Just to give you an idea. When it's a final cough, it looks like that. That's what it looks like over there. So I
That's
want
the
to
same
just give
one
you-
as that top one.
Yeah, same one as the top one right here. That's the final cough. So it is halak.
Halak.
Halak, yes. Halak. Next word here we have the ayn, we have the tet, and we have, looks like the dalet right there. Sometimes, yeah, that's a dalet right there.
That's a Dalit.
Right here, yeah. This is a dalet right here.
Oh, the end.
Right here, yeah, on the end. Ein, Mem, Dalet. Ein Mem Dalet. Yeah, I have to look at this because for whatever reason, when it's up here, it's blurry. So I'm just going to keep this with me so I can get more clarity out of it. So this word is Ahmad. Ahmad. Ahmad means to stand. To stand. Ahmad. Over here at the top, Aleph, Kaf, Lamed. Akal. means to eat.
Say that again. A call?
A call. Aleph, Kaf, Lamed means to eat. A call. A call. These are all verbs. Next one is the Kaf. See that? Kaf right there? Looks like a backward C.
Yeah.
Kaf, Tau, and bait. Yep, that's the bait. Because to write is katab. Katab. In this instance, it is katab. Means to write.
To write cut.
To write. Katab.
Cotton.
Katab.
Cut.
Katab.
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 Katab. Like if we was to say writings, it would be coat beam. Coat beam, where we have the coat, and then we have the bait, and the yod and the mem. That would be writings. It would be coat beam. But this is katab.
You didn't do the to learn, did you?
Yeah, we did. We just did that one right here.
Oh, what was the name of it?
It's to learn. Lamed.
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 Yeah.
Yeah, Lamed.
Lamed.
Sort of like the name of the Lamed right here. The Lamed, which is in the Hebrew, it is the shepherd's staff, the Lamed,
Yeah. Okay.
and it means to teach, to instruct. So this here are the three words which actually mean to learn as a verb. Lamed. We already looked at this word, katab. Now we have the Ein, Mem, and the Resh. Ein, Mem, and the Resh. Ein, Aleph. Forgive me. Aleph. Aleph, Mem, and Resh. So the Aleph is the A sound, Mem, M, Resh, R. That would be Amar. Means to say. To say. To say. Amar means to say. Here we have the Yod, the Lamed, and that's a Dalet. Yod, Lamed, Dalet, Yalad. Yalad.
Yalad.
Yalad, yeah. Yalad means to give birth, but also Yeled, same three letters, also means a child.
Okay.
But as a verb, it means to give birth. Same three letters. Yalad, Yalad.
Yalad.
Now we have the Yod, the Sheen, and the Kaf. Yod, Sheen, and the Kaf. Sh, K. Yashak.
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 Yashak means to sit.
Yashak.
Yashak means to sit.
Yashak.
So here we have 12 words that are verbs. They all have three letters, three-letter roots. You want to get familiar with the verbs. Now, these are not the only verbs, but these are a list of verbs that you will want to get accustomed to. All right? Go ahead and scroll it up. Slow. Want to talk about these kinds of verbs. The verbs that we have there is called the call, which means that it is a simple form of the verb. Call is a word which means light or easy. So it's basically saying is that these are simple verbs or basic verbs. That's the idea. Now we have also tenses that we want to be familiar with. Tenses. Is everyone here familiar with past tense, present tense, future tense?
Yeah.
Okay. So in this instance, when we talk about past tense, present tense, future tense, those are tenses that are used in Western languages, like English, French, German. But in Hebrew, there are only two tenses. Only two tenses in Hebrew. And the tenses in Hebrew are regarded as either complete or incomplete. Okay? There are only two tenses in the language. Complete or incomplete. Go ahead and scroll it up. Now, it's regarded as being perfect or imperfect. The word perfect and complete are synonymous in meaning. So the proper term would be perfect or imperfect. And basically what it means is that when you have a word phrase that expresses a completed action, it's regarded as having a perfect tense. All right? If you have a word expression that expresses an incomplete action, then it is regarded as an incomplete tense or imperfect tense. Give an example. Here you have a word, and this word means I studied. All right? Lamad ti. Lamad ti. Lamed mem dalet lamad tav and yod. This is where you get the T from. Lamad ti. Lamad ti. It means I studied, or I have studied, or I had studied, or I had been studying, or I did study. Now, when you look at these word phrases, you and I would think in the English language that it is demonstrating past tense. But what it's showing us, it is representing an action that has been done. A person who has studied has completed an action. They studied. So this would be regarded as a perfect tense because an action has been completed. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? It's not difficult to understand the difference between the tenses so long as you're able to recognize that when you look at a word expression, you're able to determine whether or not the word expression is describing a completed action or an action that is not completed. All right? So here we're going to have an example of an imperfect tense that expresses an incomplete action. All right? So here we have the aleph, the mem, the gimel, and the resh. So here with this word, we have amgar. Amgar. That's how you would say it. Aleph in the mem, gimel, ga, ar. Amgar or amgor, which would be a way of saying it. Amgor.
Amgor.
Okay? It means I shall shut. Or I shall be shutting. Like as if to say, I will shut the door. That action hasn't occurred yet.
So incomplete.
Exactly. It is an incomplete tense because the action has not occurred. But this is an example of that. Okay? So, we've just looked at tenses. We've looked at the perfect tense, which is a completed action. And we've looked at the imperfect tense, which represents an incompleted action. Scroll it up. Okay, bring it down just a little bit. Yes, we're going to look at number 3, active participles of call verbs. So we looked at the verbs in the previous vocabulary list, and we saw the meanings of those verbs. Now here we're looking at active participles. So what we want to notice about the active participles, with these words, it expresses a verb where in our language that we normally use as English speakers, we would have the ing on the end. So whereas you have the word to finish, when it's expressed here, it is finishing.
Finishing.
Yes, finishing. Now the way that we're able to recognize that these verbs, these call verbs, are being actually active participles is by the inclusion of the wav after the first letter. See, this word here, we have the nun. Well, that's not the nun. That's the gimel. I'm sorry. This is the gimel, the mem, and the resh. The gimel, the mem, and the resh, as just the three letters of the root, it gives us gamar. But when we put the wav after the first letter or after the gimel, the wav gives us this expression. Instead of saying to finish, it would be finishing. So with the wav in between, or shall I say after the first letter, you have gomer. Gomer. Instead of it being gomer, it will be gomer.
Like Gomer Pyle?
Yeah, like Gomer Pyle.
Really?
Yeah, like Gomer Pyle. Yeah. All right, I want to write it for you. So you can get a better visual of it. Okay. Okay. You know, let me have the and let me have the resh. Come on this side, give you an idea what it looks like a little bit better. All right, so here we have the gimel, here we have the wav, the mem, and the resh. Go mer or go mer. Anytime we stick the wav in between, the wav acts as a vowel of either the O or the U. In this instance, we look at it as the O. What we note is that when we look at the nikudot, the vowel designations, even though I'm not really focusing on the vowel designations, for this, when you have a dot over the wav, it gives you the O sound of the wav as a vowel. All right? Mm-hmm. Now, in all of these verbs, for to give, it was the nun, tau, and the nun, which would be natan. With the wav, after the nun, it is now notan.
Notan.
All right? This is what happens.
It changes it.
It changes it so that now you recognize that the verb to give is now giving, because it's now become an active participle. So one of the ways in the Hebrew language that you're able to make a distinction between just a regular call verb where it's expressing to give or to shut or to stand or to say or to sit, when you want to say giving, shutting, walking, standing, you have to have the wav after the first letter of the word. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? So these are the rules, grammar rules, that you'll need to get accustomed to. So when you go and you look into Hebrew text of a manuscript, and you see this word right here, or you see this word right here, and you see that, okay, I see the three letters that are there, but I see the wav right after it, you'll know that this word is not to shut, but shutting. Okay? Does that make sense to everybody?
Because of that.
Because of that
Yeah, I
wav.
see that all the
Yeah.
time. Okay.
Okay? All right? Now I'm going to read this here. These Hebrew words are active participles, corresponding to the English present participles ending in ing. The participles are usually formed by inserting the vowel wav, okay, after the first letter. So you insert the vowel wav after the first letter of the root, okay? So when you look at a word and you notice this, you notice the wav is smack dab in the middle here, and you recognize three letters of the root, then you know, okay, this word means, in this instance, standing.
And the wav will always be the second letter. Right?
Always, yes, it comes after the first letter
Okay.
of the three-letter root.
Okay.
See in each of these? See the place where the wav is?
Yeah.
See the place where the wav is. Okay? Okay? So that's what you want to be mindful of in this, so that you'll recognize that there's a difference with the verbs. As I said, this is a part of the grammar. So you're not going to just get it today, but that's why you have to go over the information. You need to write, practice writing, do the homework. When you do the homework, struggle through it. If you're struggling with the homework, then jot down some questions to present to me, and then I can help you with that. But it's important that you go through it and you work through it so that you'll be able to get it. All right? But yes, this is how active participles are expressed in Hebrew. You put the wav after the first letter of the three-letter root. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Another thing that's important for us to remember about Hebrew, and I'm reiterating this, and that is that Hebrew is a language that is active.
Mm-hmm.
Everything about the language is moving. It would be safe to say that all of the words in Hebrew are verbs, in the sense that they are action words. Even the nouns are regarded as verbs because they're action words. That's just the nature of the language. But as far as proper verbs, in the sense of what we're looking at here, you'll see the three-letter roots. Like to finish, to give, to walk or to go, to shut, to stand, to eat, to learn, to write, or to say, or to sit. And in this case, because they all have the wav after the first letter, it will be an active participle where you put the ing on the end. All right? Now, the participles agree with the nouns and the pronouns associated with them. So basically what that means is that, say if you have a word that has a plural, okay, you will have to make that active participle to have the same plural designation as what the word may be, the noun or the pronoun. So scroll up. We're going to look at some examples. All right. Hold it right there. So one of the things that we want to be mindful of is that with the participles, the participle can come after the noun or pronoun, or it could come before the noun or the pronoun. Okay? So, we're going to look at this sentence here. The man is walking. We already know the to be verb is not there in Hebrew.
Right.
Okay, so it's just taking into account that for us English speakers and thinkers, that we would put it there because it makes sense. You know, literally in Hebrew, it would be the man walking.
Mm-hmm. But that still
Okay.
sounds the same.
Okay, but you get the point?
Yeah.
All right. So over here is where we have the Hebrew for the man is walking. Right here we have Haish, ha. How many of you remember when you put the hey in front of a word, what does that mean? When the hey is put in front of a word, what does that mean? Come on, y'all know what that means?
Masculine?
No?
Um,
I'm going to give y'all that as a homework assignment again. Anytime you put the hey in front of a word, it is a definite article. It becomes the man. Take the hey off of ish. Ish is man. Hey in front of any word means the.
Okay.
So, what does the hey represent?
the.
The. All right. You don't want to forget this. This is very important.
Okay.
Okay? The hey
The hey
is a definite article. It is used to represent the whatever it is. So, ha-ish means the man. Okay? The clue is given right here with the sentence. The man is walking. So, ha-ish means the man because the participle has to agree with nouns and pronouns. The noun is man, so it is the man. So with this word here, which is ha or holak, remember halak, hey, lamed, kaf, halak means to walk.
Mhm.
When you have the wav, right after the first letter, it is holak. 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 Which means walking. So the man walking. Okay? The man, and we just is walking.
Okay.
But also it can be written where you have the word walking in front of the noun. In this instance, holak, which means walking, ha-ish, the man, means walking the man. That's like saying, same thing as the man is walking. So you can have the participle placed after the noun or before the noun. Either way, it can be expressed like this or like that.
Okay.
So if you were looking at a manuscript in Hebrew and you saw this, you know that there's a wav after the first letter. This means walking. And here's the word before it. The man walking. Oh, the man is walking. Or if you see it this way, walking the man. It also means the man is walking. So it can be expressed
Walking
before the
man
word
is. No.
or after the word. Okay? So here we have the son is riding. So here we go. This word right here, we have the hey, and then we have the bait and the nun. Bait and the nun together, ben, is the word for son. Hey comes before
Okay.
the word ben. What does it mean when you put the hey before the word?
The
The son.
the son.
The son. So, the son, and here we have writing. Writing is The Kaf.
That's a cough.
Yep, right here's the Kaf. I'll write it out for you so you can see it. But you have it in your notes. You should be able to see it on your notes. Kaf, Wav, Tau, that's the bait. So here we have the Kaf, the Wav, the Tab, and the bait. Without the Wav, this would be Ketub. Here we have Kotub.
Colton.
Kotub. Kotub. This is the bait.
Oh,
Bait.
Kotub.
Bait.
Kotub.
Kotub. All right? Kotub. This is not a mem. It's a bait.
Okay.
All right? So this word here means writing because we have the Wav right here after the first letter. So we have Ha Ben Koteb. Ha Ben Koteb, which means the son writing, or the son is writing. Okay? And then we see it also over here. Koteb Ha Ben, which is writing the son. So it can be expressed. It can be expressed in two different ways. All right? So we already showed you what this word looks like here on the board. We showed you that. And here we have Ha Ben, which is the son. Did everybody catch that?
Can you show it again?
All right.
Can you show it on this again? The camera wasn't moved. To show
All right. For those who need
no,
to see it,
come over.
but you need to bring it over so we
Yeah,
can show
that's
that.
what I mean. Right there. Okay.
Kaf, Wav, Tau, Bait. Huh? So what we find here is that when we are putting these sentences together, I lost my lead. You can have the participle after the word, or after the noun, or before the noun. In each one of these, it's being expressed, like the boys are learning. So over here, you have ha. Ha means what?
The.
You have the, right, the. We have yod, lamet, dalet, the yod and the mem. Yaladim. Yaled means boy. All right? As a verb, yalad means to birth. But as a noun, it means boy. Yaled im. When you have the yod mem, what does the yod mem do to a word? What does the yod mem do to a word? The im, what does that do to a word? If it's singular.
Makes it plural.
Makes it plural. Thank you. Yod mem, im. Yalad, boy, im, s. Yeladim. Ha, yeladim means the boys.
Yeah. Huh?
Y'all catch that?
Yeah.
I know it's going to take some time to get it, but you want to remember. Yod mem, plural masculine. Boy is masculine. Yod mem is plural masculine. So it'll be yeladim. And over here, for learning, we have the lamed, the mem, and the dalet, which would be lamad, which means to learn, with the wav in the middle, it's lo medim. The reason why we have the yod mem added to this word is because there's a yod mem here. Anytime you have a plural designation on a noun, you have to add a plural designation also on the verb. Or you have to have a plural designation on the adjective. Okay? Like an adjective that may describe the noun, you have, if there's a plural designation, there must be a plural designation on the noun, on the verb as well. So here you have the yod mem attached to this word, lomed, lomedim,
Lomedim.
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 Okay? All right, y'all see that? So these are some rules, and I know it's going to take some time. It's going to take some time to get these rules. What's that?
Is it going on YouTube?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, the screen is not clear on YouTube
Okay.
though. You'll have to see it on Facebook.
So anyway, you want to be mindful that when you are putting the verb after the noun, that it has to agree. It has to agree with whether it's a plural, and it also has to agree with whether it's masculine or feminine as well. Okay? So now here's an interesting situation right here with this particular sentence where the women are eating. The women are eating. Okay. Now the word for women, let me do this. Here's where you have what's called an irregular noun. Everybody say irregular noun.
Irregular noun.
Okay? There are some nouns that are irregular, which means that they don't follow the normal pattern. Like we've learned that when it comes to plural masculine or plural feminine, a plural masculine has the yod mem giving the im on the end of a word. All right? The plural feminine has the wav tav, which gives you the ot sound, like oatmeal, you know, oat. All right. So for a plural word in the feminine, it would end with the wav tav, ot.
Oat.
But there are irregular nouns in the plural that don't follow the pattern. So there's some situation like that. One of those is the word women. Okay? So I want to show you what that looks like. I'll come over here so you can see it. Okay. So this word in the block script is the word for women. Nun, sheen,
She.
yod, and mem.
Yod.
Now, woman is feminine, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the yod mem is a masculine plural ending, right? In this case, when you are saying women, plural for woman, it doesn't follow the same order. Because normally you have the wav. Normally you have the wav tav, which is this. This is the feminine right here, the wav tav.
The wav tav.
The wav tav is feminine plural.
Okay.
But for the word women, you have the im on the end. You have a masculine plural designation for women. So this is regarded as an irregular noun. Okay? There's some words where when it comes to the plural endings that they're irregular. Like the word for fathers. That's another instance. The word for fathers. Ab is father in the singular sense. The aleph and the bait. Y'all remember that? But if you say fathers, you wouldn't say abim. The way you say fathers is abot, where it would have the wav tav on the end. That's also an irregular noun. Now, we didn't spend a whole lot of time going over the irregular nouns, but they are in one of your lessons. I believe if you go back to lesson number 6, I believe it's in that particular lesson. Look up irregular nouns. You want to get familiar with those. Those are like what we would call your exceptions to the rule. Okay?
Yeah.
They're exceptions to the rule. So in this instance right here, this is going to look kind of strange because it's like, okay, we're supposed to follow these rules of having the same plural designations for both the noun and the participle. So here we have the women are eating, okay? Here we have the word ha-nashim. Ha, the, nashim, women, okay? Now, this word, nashim, it ends with the masculine plural designation, but the word is still regarded as a feminine word.
Right. With the
It's still regarded as
ending.
a feminine word.
With a masculine ending.
Okay, even though it has a masculine ending, it's still a feminine word because women are feminine. So when you have the participle over here, I want you to notice, eating is okelot. Remember, akel is to eat. O, where you have the wav after the aleph, because it's eating, it will be okel. This word right here, okel, is eating, but the designation on the end with the wav tav has it as a plural, because the plural designations have to be the same. But because this word here is feminine, there has to be a feminine designation on this participle. So it looks strange. Here you have the eem here and the oak there. Okay? But the reason being is because of the rules. Even though this is an irregular noun, because it has the yod and the mem, it's regarded as an irregular noun. But it's still a feminine word. So the participle that follows it has to have a feminine plural designation, because you have to have the plural designations on both the noun and also the verb. It has to be there. They have to agree. But in this case, it looks strange because you have eem here and oat there. And we're accustomed to, if we have the yod mem here, we have the yod mem there. Does that make sense to everybody? Mm-hmm. So with the irregular noun, the irregular noun is feminine because women are feminine. No doubt about that, right?
Right.
No doubt about that. So even though it's an irregular noun and it has the yod mem on the end, given the plurality, you still have to follow the feminine designation for the plural designation on the participle. So in this case, you have a different kind of situation, which is different from here. Here you have the eem on both. Okay? Everybody see that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions about that?
At the end where it's masculine, is it because it's men at the end? Is that
What
why
are
it's
you
like
talking
that?
about right here?
Yeah, no, how it says a woman.
Okay, here, now, first of all, are you referring to this particular noun, or are you referring to the other words where it is a masculine? Like with the boys is masculine. So you would have the yod mem. And so because boy is masculine, you'd have the yod mem. This is not an irregular noun.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, this one is an
What's the
exception to the
Hebrew?
rule.
What's the Hebrew word for woman? Women. Do you know the Hebrew word?
I just told you.
No.
Nashim.
Nashim. That's
Nashim.
why I wanted to hear it. Nashim. Okay.
Nashim. Yeah.
Okay.
Nashim. Nashim.
Right.
Nashim.
I think her question was because in English you see how it has the men ending,
Yeah.
but that's English, so it's
That's
not
English,
as necessarily.
Yeah, it's
It
different.
won't apply
Okay.
with so much.
Um,
But I can see your line of thinking because of that.
Yeah, so
Women.
and as I said, there is a page in the previous lesson which has your irregular nouns. These are words where it has, like I said, the word for fathers. Father is masculine for father, but if you're saying plural fathers, the ending is not going to end with the yod mem. It's going to end with the wav tav, which is a feminine plural ending. That's an irregular noun because it's not ending with the masculine plural. Okay? So if you say fathers, you'll say abot. Abot. Not abim, abot. And it's like, how does that work? It is what it is. That's how it is in the language. In this case, with women in plural, it's the same way. It has a plural masculine ending, but it is regarded as a feminine word. So if you have a participle in this instance, or if you have an adjective, say it was an adjective like the word black or something, all right, like saying the woman is black, you would say shekar is the word for black in Hebrew. You would say shekarot. It would be hanashim shekarot.
Anashim Shekar.
Shekarot. That means the woman is black. Okay? And the reason why the adjective would have the alt on it is because it has to use the feminine plural designation. Even though this word for women has the yod mem, it doesn't matter. Because the word in and of itself is regarded as a feminine word. Verbs, adjectives have to have a feminine plural designation on the end of it. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, so these are some of the rules, and it takes time to get used to it. You know, it's the same as if you were learning English and you were trying to figure out how do you get the sound of F from GH. You know how you say enough, and it has a GH on the end. How do you get F from GH? It's a rule.
Yeah.
You just accept the rule. You understand what I mean? That's how it is.
It just popped up.
Yeah, it's just there. So here's some instances where you want to get familiar with your irregular nouns, because there are some nouns that are irregular like that. Okay? So, what we're doing as we're learning the Hebrew, we're wanting to get the foundational basics of the grammar and the rules under our belt. And also we want to know how to use the definite articles, because I'm going to always be asking you what this represents. When we have the hey in front of a word, I'm going to ask you. I expect you to know.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Like if I was to ask you, because we're basically at the end of it. This is the end of the lesson, but there's a couple of things I wanted to go over. The letter wav. Do you all remember if you put the letter wav in front of a word, what that represents? Just giving you a little review. Anybody remembers?
You put the wav
The wav. If you put the wav in front of a word, what does that represent? If I did this, All right, I'm gonna show you. Okay. I just put the wav in front of this word right here. What does that mean? That means something. If I was to put a hey in front of it, it would mean the women. But I put a wav there. What does that wav mean? I'm not going to tell you.
Woman.
No.
Like singular.
You're guessing.
A
No.
woman?
Singular.
No, it's not singular.
Okay.
You have to take that off in order for it to be singular.
Okay.
It means something. We went through, let me give you a little review. We went through definite article. We also dealt with the conjunction. In a sentence, what is the conjunction? Conjunction means you hook other words up.
Bring it to, yeah.
So what word do we use to hook other words up in a sentence? If we want to add more to a sentence, what word do we use?
Yeah, you can say and.
There you go!
Yeah, okay.
Say it again.
And.
And.
Conjunction.
That means
Yeah.
and?
Yes. The wav at the beginning of a word is a conjunction. It means and. Like and women. Okay? Yeah.
Was I
It was in like the third lesson.
I wasn't here on the third lesson.
Okay, we'll get you the notes. Get you the notes. So,
No.
all right.
Excuse.
I have them all right here.
It's something I have to just keep being practiced. It doesn't. It's
All right.
It's like learning a new. It is learning a new language.
All right. So what you want to do, you want to remember the definite articles, which is the hey. You want to remember the conjunction, which is the and. You want to remember that. Those are all very important as you're going through. We dealt with plurals, yeah. Lesson 5, we dealt with nouns, with adjectives, plurals, and definite article. And when we dealt with that, that's in lesson 5, we also looked at the also irregular forms of nouns are also in lesson 5. So lesson 5, you want to go to lesson 5 and you want to look up that lesson. That will deal with irregular forms of plurals. Okay? And also, let's see, definite article before the letter. Yeah. So anyway, I wanted to just go over that because those are some things that we dealt with in the earlier part of the course. And those are things that you want to know, like the back of your hand. You need to know what to look for when you see the hey in front of a word. That means the. If you see the wav in front of a word, it means and. Okay? Those are some things you want to remember. So go over, I want to suggest you go over your lessons. Just review it, go over it, and think about what that is. And then when you start looking at the sentences, you will see, okay, the wav is in front of this word. It means and then whatever the word is. All right? And you see the hey. The hey means the. All right? And I know for some, this is the first time being introduced to Hebrew. But these are the things that you want to get underneath your belt, these basics. And once you get those basics down and you start looking at the letters and recognizing the letters and recognizing the words, because I know it's going to take some time, but you definitely want to put time in so that you can get familiar with it. That way when you go and you are studying, even if you're going into say like you're looking at an interlinear where it has the Hebrew text and then it has the translation below it. That may be a way to help you so that when you're looking at the Hebrew text part of it, you'll see, oh, the wav is here and the word is here. Oh, okay. It might say wa Yahshua. That means and Yahshua. Okay, you'll see that. So that helps you to be able to recognize how to read the Hebrew and to understand it. All of it is step by step. I don't expect you to know it all in one shot, but you have to put the work in. You have to put the work in, and you have to know what this is to recognize it. So when you're looking at it like, oh, I see the hey in front of a word, that means something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, highlight that in your notes. That means something. I see the wav in front of a word. Highlight that. That means something. It's and. It's a conjunction. All right? And like we just learned today, when it comes to verbs, if you want to say learning, and you have this word right here, lamad, you put the wav in the middle of it, now it means learning. Instead of to learn, it's learning when you put that wav after the first letter.
After the first.
After the first letter.
Okay.
1, 2, 3 is the root of all the verbs, at least that we saw. You stick the wav after the first letter, and it's in your notes.
Oh, that's
Read
the
your
wall.
notes.
That's a wall. What you touching right there?
What I'm touching right here is a wav.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That
It's
thing
there
like
already.
that, that's a wav.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like duplicity then. It can mean and, it can mean
It's where it's positioned.
where it's positioned.
It's where it's
okay.
positioned. I said at the beginning of a
It's gonna
word,
be and,
it
okay.
means and.
And if you put it in between somewhere,
Put it-
it puts an ending on the word.
It's only with the verbs after the first letter,
Okay. With the verbs after the first letter.
and it's in the notes. Read your notes again. Like scroll down real quick, and we're gonna go ahead and wrap this up in prayer. Scroll it down.
So it makes it the
Scroll
other
it
way.
down. Scroll it
Down this
down.
way?
Yeah,
It makes
scroll
it
down.
future.
Right here. Yeah. See how you have it right here?
Uh-huh.
Wav, 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 all
Okay.
after the first letter.
Yeah, that's good.
It's not about just placing it anywhere. That's not
Yeah.
about placing it just anywhere.
Right.
In this instance, where you have verbs, the verbs are 3 letters, 3-letter roots are your verbs. So when you place it after the first letter, that's going to change this, which meant to finish, to finishing.
Mm-hmm.
All right? So that's all we covered. Any other questions? So we covered verbs today. We covered call verb, which is a simple. It's called a simple or easy verb. We also dealt with tenses. There is the complete and incomplete, which is perfect or imperfect. The perfect tense means that it is an action that is completed. An incomplete or imperfect tense is an action that is not completed. All right? Y'all remember that? Okay, that's how it is in Hebrew. Similar to past, present, and future, but it's not described as such. So you got to change your way of thinking so that when you look at Hebrew, Hebrew is either is done or not done. That's the tense. It's either done, and if it's done, it is equivalent to like past tense. And if it's not done, it can represent present and future. But in Hebrew, we don't call it that. All right? No more questions? All right.
Good, because you're live streaming.
All right.